How many times have you planted something in your garden? You watered it faithfully, you gave it sunlight, you talked to it every morning, and it still just sat there, barely alive, looking at you like it had given up. You blamed the seeds. Maybe you blamed the weather. Perhaps you blamed your knees for not letting you tend to it the way you used to. But here is what nobody ever told you. And this is the part that is going to change everything for you today. It was never the plant. It was never you. It was the ground beneath it. You see, your soil is alive. It is not just dirt. It is a whole world. A tiny, invisible world of billions of creatures, minerals, air pockets, and water channels, all working together to feed your plants from below. And when that world is broken, your garden suffers. Not loudly, quietly, slowly, like an engine running without oil. And here is the truly wild part. Most of what makes soil sick is completely fixable. Without expensive chemicals. Without bending your back until it screams. Without turning your garden into a science experiment. Today, I am going to walk you through 9 incredibly simple, deeply proven ways to wake your soil back up. Number 1. Feed the invisible crowd. Here is something that should absolutely amaze you. A single teaspoon of healthy garden soil contains more living organisms than there are people on this entire planet. Bacteria, fungi, tiny creatures so small you could never see them. And every single one of them has a job to do. They break things down. They release nutrients. They build what scientists call the soil food web, the underground network that feeds your plants. The very first way to boost your soil health is to understand this. Your soil is hungry. And when it is hungry, your plants go hungry too. So what does this invisible crowd eat? Organic matter. That is it. Nothing fancy. Think of it as the meal you throw together from what is already in your kitchen. Banana peels, vegetable scraps, used coffee grounds, crushed eggshells, dry leaves from the corner of your yard. All of this, when added to your soil, either directly or through a simple compost setup, becomes the food that feeds billions of underground workers who then feed your plants. You do not need a compost bin the size of a shed. A small corner of your garden, a pot, even a bucket with a few holes in the bottom is enough to get started. Toss in your kitchen scraps. Add some dry leaves. Let nature do the rest. Number 2. Give your soil a blanket. Now I know what you might be thinking. The ground in your garden looks perfectly fine uncovered. That is what you are used to seeing. Bare soil between your plants, tidy and neat. But here is what bare soil actually is. A wound. When soil is left uncovered and exposed to sun, wind, and rain, it dries out faster than you can water it. It loses its nutrients like a leaky bucket, and the structure it needs to feed your plants slowly falls apart. The fix is one of the oldest tricks in gardening history, and yet most beginners skip it entirely. It is called mulching. But I want you to think of it differently. Think of mulching as tucking your soil in for bed. A layer of wood chips, straw, dried leaves, or even shredded newspaper placed about 2 to 3 inches thick on top of your soil does 4 miraculous things at once. 1. It keeps moisture locked in so you water less. 2. It regulates temperature, so your soil does not bake in summer heat or freeze too hard in winter. 3. It slowly breaks down into organic matter, feeding your soil from the top. And 4. It stops weeds from getting the sunlight they need to grow, meaning less weeding for you. For a gardener over 60, mulching is not optional. It is essential. Your back, your knees, and your water bill will all thank you. Simply collect dried leaves in the autumn. Pile them around your plants. Job done. Your soil will be warmer, wetter, and more alive by spring. Number 3. Let the rain do the talking. We all know that plants need water. That part is not news. But what most gardeners do not realize is that how you water is just as important as how much you water. And the wrong watering habit is one of the most common ways people unknowingly damage their soil. When you use tap water directly on your soil day after day, a couple of things happen that you cannot see but absolutely feel in your results. The chlorine and fluoride in tap water over time can disrupt the microbial life we talked about in number 1. those billions of helpful bacteria and fungi that are feeding your plants. Also, when you water too shallowly too often, you train your plant roots to stay near the surface where they are most vulnerable to heat and drought. The better approach? Water deeply and less frequently. Give your plants a long, slow drink rather than a quick splash every day. This encourages roots to grow downward, deep into the soil, where they are stronger and more stable. And whenever you can, collect rainwater. Even a simple barrel or bucket under your roof gutter fills up beautifully in a rainy week. Rainwater is naturally soft, free of harsh chemicals, and slightly acidic in a way that most plants absolutely love. Your plants will tell you the difference almost immediately. Deeper color, stronger stems, and leaves that look like they are actually enjoying themselves. Number 4. Invite the worm crew. Alright, I want to introduce you to the greatest gardening tool ever made, and it costs you absolutely nothing to get. In fact, it was probably already living in your garden this morning while you were having your tea. Earthworms. Now I know what some of you might be thinking, but stay with me here. Because earthworms are not just creatures you see after a rainstorm. They are, without exaggeration, the most powerful soil health tool on the planet. As a worm moves through the soil, it creates tiny tunnels, air channels that allow oxygen and water to move through the ground more easily. It also eats organic matter and produces something called worm castings, which is essentially the richest natural fertilizer that exists. It is so nutrient-dense that scientists have compared it to a multivitamin for your plants. A healthy garden will naturally attract worms, but you can actively encourage more of them by doing 2 things. Adding organic matter to your soil regularly, which is the food they love, and never using synthetic pesticides or chemical fertilizers, which kill them. If you want to go one step further, you can set up a simple worm bin called a vermicomposting system. It is a container with some soil, bedding, and worms, and you feed it your kitchen scraps. The worms process everything and produce incredibly rich compost for your garden. It is clean. It is odorless. It can sit on a porch or in a shed. And for a gardener who perhaps cannot manage a full outdoor compost heap, it is an absolute game changer. Think of it as keeping a little underground crew working for you around the clock. No wages needed. Number 5. Let your soil rest the smart way. Here is a concept that I think speaks especially to this community. To those of us who have lived long enough to understand that rest is not laziness. It is wisdom. Your soil needs rest too. But resting soil does not mean leaving it empty. This is where something called cover cropping comes in. And I promise it sounds more complicated than it is. A cover crop is simply a plant that you grow in your garden bed not to eat, but to protect and enrich the soil underneath it. You plant it when your main growing season ends, after you have harvested your tomatoes, your beans, your courgettes, and you let it grow through the quieter months. Some cover crops like clover and beans actually pull nitrogen from the air, yes, the air, and fix it into your soil as a natural fertilizer. Others, like winter rye or oats, grow thick and prevent weeds. And when spring arrives, you simply cut them down and dig them in, adding all that green matter back to your soil as a rich, natural boost. For gardeners who do not want a full cover crop routine, even a simple layer of dried leaves left over your bed through winter acts as a living blanket that feeds soil organisms and protects the ground structure. Number 6. The ancient soil medicine your grandparents knew. I want to take you back for a moment, way back, to something that gardeners and farmers have done for centuries, long before garden centers existed, long before anyone sold anything in a bag with a bright label. Your soil has a pH level. Think of it as a mood meter. When the pH is too low, meaning the soil is too acidic, nutrients get locked away where your plants cannot reach them. When it is too high, too alkaline, a different set of nutrients become unavailable. Most vegetables, fruits, and flowers prefer a pH somewhere in the middle, between 6 and 7. That sweet spot where everything is accessible, and your plants can actually use what the soil contains. The ancient fix? Garden lime for acid soil. A simple, naturally occurring powder made from crushed limestone that raises pH and makes locked nutrients available again. And for soil that is too alkaline, sulfur, another natural mineral, gently lowers it. Now I am not telling you to go rushing out and change your soil chemistry without testing it first. You can buy a simple soil test kit from any garden center for just a few dollars, and it will tell you in minutes exactly where your soil stands. But here is the key message. If your plants are struggling despite good watering and feeding, the answer is very often in the pH. The soil has nutrients, but your plants simply cannot access them, like a door that is locked from the inside. Fix the pH and you unlock the door. Everything your plant needs is suddenly available, and the transformation can be remarkable. Number 7. The kindest thing you can do for your soil and your body. This might be the most important thing I say in this entire video, and it is also the most counterintuitive, because everything we have been taught says that before you plant anything, you dig. You turn the soil. You break it up. You till it. But here is what that digging actually does. It destroys the very structure that healthy soil spends years building. Remember those tiny tunnels the earthworms make? Tilling collapses them. Remember the fungal networks that connect plant roots underground and allow them to share nutrients? A single pass of a garden fork rips them apart. The beneficial bacteria, the air channels, the moisture-holding structure, all disturbed in minutes. No-till gardening, sometimes called no-dig gardening, is the practice of building on top of your soil rather than turning it over. Instead of digging and disrupting, you add compost and organic matter on top and let the underground world pull it down naturally over time. For gardeners over 60, this is also physically the most sensible approach. No heavy digging. No strain on the back. No risk of the exhaustion that comes from turning heavy clay soil. What you do instead? Clear your bed of weeds by smothering them with cardboard. Yes, plain old cardboard boxes. Lay it flat, wet it down, and it blocks the light that weeds need to survive. Then pile your compost, your mulch, and your organic matter on top. Within a season, the soil underneath transforms. Worms come up through the cardboard as it breaks down. The structure improves on its own. Gardeners who have switched to no-dig report healthier plants, fewer weeds, and significantly less physical effort. Some have completely transformed neglected plots in one season, without a single dig. Number 8. The charcoal secret buried in history. Centuries ago, indigenous communities in the Amazon rainforest discovered something remarkable. In patches of the jungle, the soil was pitch black, extraordinarily rich, and unlike anything else in the region. Scientists eventually studied this soil, and what they found inside it was charcoal. Ancient, crumbled charcoal that had been buried intentionally, mixed with bone and organic waste, and left to transform the earth. They called it terra preta, dark earth. And what the charcoal was doing is something we now understand very well. It was acting as a permanent home for beneficial microbes, a sponge for nutrients and moisture, a structure that kept soil loose and aerated for decades, even centuries. Modern gardeners can replicate this effect with something called biochar. And before you assume this is complicated, let me tell you it is not. Biochar is simply charcoal that has been activated, usually by soaking it in liquid compost, worm tea, or diluted liquid fertilizer before adding it to the soil. This charges it with nutrients and gives the microbes a home to move into. You can buy biochar from garden suppliers, or you can make a simple version at home by burning untreated wood slowly in a contained metal bin. Though buying it pre-made is perfectly fine and often easier. Mix a handful or two into your planting holes or blend it into your compost. It will not produce a dramatic overnight change, but over a season it improves moisture retention, feeds microbial life, and makes your soil lighter and more friable. That beautiful crumbly texture that good garden soil has. It is ancient technology, and it still works beautifully. Number 9. The kitchen table fix that changes everything. We have come to the final tip, and I want to end on something so simple that you might feel a little cheated, because the answer has been sitting in your kitchen every single morning. Use coffee grounds. Now before you say you have heard this before, stay with me. Because most people use coffee grounds the wrong way. They dump a mound of them around their plants and wonder why nothing improves. Here is the truth about coffee grounds and how to use them correctly to genuinely transform your soil. Coffee grounds are slightly acidic, which makes them excellent for acid-loving plants like blueberries, hydrangeas, and azaleas. But their real magic is what they do for your soil biology. Coffee grounds are absolutely loved by earthworms. Adding them to your soil or your compost heap actively attracts and feeds your worm crew, which, as we discussed in Tip 4, is like adding the best gardening workforce money cannot buy. They also improve soil drainage and texture. Clay soil that tends to clump together becomes slightly more crumbly and better draining when coffee grounds are worked in over time. And here is the important part. Use them in moderation. A thin sprinkling worked into the top few inches of soil, or added as one ingredient among many in your compost, is ideal. Too thick a layer can repel water and create a crust. A little goes a long way. Combined with crushed eggshells, which add calcium and help balance pH, your morning kitchen routine becomes a slow, gentle, completely free soil amendment program. You are not just making breakfast. You are feeding your garden at the same time. And there you have it. 9 proven, practical, and beautifully simple ways to breathe life back into your soil. Which of these 9 tips are you going to try first? Drop it in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Share it with a fellow gardener who could use this information. And if you have not already, subscribe to Easy Gardening for Elders. Hit the bell so you never miss a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Now go check on your garden and give that soil a little love. Until next time, happy growing!